Hi, I'm Classy Minch and welcome to Daring the Big Leap, the interview series for people who want to transition from employee to making a living as a change worker. And in this series, I'm interviewing people who successfully made the transition because we get to learn from their experience. And today's guest is my dear friend, Elliot Kay. Elliot is an international mentor, trainer, and facilitator working with business owners and entrepreneurs to accelerate results through his unique strategy trainings. Working across corporate and experiential training, he has delivered training programs for the likes of Sky Television, Talk, NHS, and Hewlett-Packard. In addition, Elliot facilitated his own groundbreaking experiential seminar, Power to Succeed. Elliot is also a mentor on the Princess Trust Innovation Scheme and has written 3 books. Welcome, Elliot.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, Clasia.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm so glad you accepted my invitation. Elliot, would you be willing to share how did you make the transition from employee to making a living as a change worker?
Sure. I don't know if, I don't think there's a set way. My way of doing it was quite interesting because what happened was when I decided that's it, I need out, I was working full-time as a trainer. I was working in network marketing. I was running my own events. I was coaching. And plus I was helping out at seminars and events. So what I did is I remember sitting there and we just won the Sky contract. You mentioned Sky. And I was just so burnt out. I turned to my manager. I said, either we find a way to make it work for both of us or I'm out. And my manager, she's very supportive and actually ended up speaking to the managing director, to the MD. And he said, look, I'd rather help you transition out and support you than just lose you. So my route out was actually lots of conversations. I ended up pitching to them to become a subcontractor. So they kept me, reducing to 3 days a week. And that was my transition. So I did that for a year. So I stayed in between jobs, if you like, but I was still working. We agreed a day rate, we agreed everything. I still had to pitch the idea to everybody, so they actually were on board. They created a role, which was a campaign mentor. And then from there, I started the journey. And then after a year, I was like, that's it, I can't do this anymore. I need to literally go. I need to, make the jump, take the big step. Even though I had security of 3 days a week, I was like, I need to go. So I left after a year of subcontracting. And that was my transition. So in a nutshell, my transition was having a very honest conversation, figuring out a way to make it work for both of us, implementing that way and having a year transition.
Okay, and what were the key milestones for you?
I think the key milestones was actually really sitting down with the managing director and having a very open and frank conversation because he's an entrepreneur, so he got it. Another key milestone was pitching it to the operations director, who was a real meanie. He was like one of these guys that was like very, very, because he's all about operations, he was always seeing holes in things. So I had to pitch 3 times before I got accepted. And then obviously when I got accepted, that was a milestone. Here's a key milestone. When I left, not too long after, they called me back to do a month training with them, and I charged them a full consultancy rate. That was a milestone. Yeah. I was like, bring it. Yeah. So that was a big milestone because I went from like a third of what I was as a subcontractor to coming back at full rate. And I know the operations director did not like that.
Beautiful. It tastes better to me,
Yes.
at least to me. And I was just listening to the story, and I got to participate in your success. And what insights helped you?
Definitely, at the time I had a coach, that was massive. She was lovely and very supportive, but also very directional. So having someone guide me through it, be there as emotional anchor was important. Also, what helped me through it was actually, the managing director. I even thanked him in my first book because he really supported the journey. And I think it was because of my honesty. It wasn't sly. Excuse me, I got a cough. And that was also part of the what supported me. But more than anything, it was my belief that I could make it work. Like the core of it was a real deep-rooted, I will make this work. It will happen. It was 2010. Just even 2009 when I transitioned. And that's just after the recession. So of course it was like, hey, you sure this is a good move and etc. But no, it's that unwavering belief, that uncompromising focus, and having great support around me. That was massive for me.
Yes, and one of the things that I really love about you said, one of the many things I love had to do with having the honest conversations, right? And even though you had the person that didn't support you in your journey, how much people are willing to support you if you are willing to have the tough conversations to start with? Because I guess you had to overcome a couple of obstacles, insecurities, or even fears in order to approach those people to have those conversations. Would that be fair enough to say? Or
I think when I spoke to my manager, I was so down and out that fear wasn't playing a part.
Right.
I just need to excuse me. So when I approached her, it was more from a place of, I've got nothing left to give. When I think you might relate that where you just come to the bottom and you're like, I've got nothing. I'm either out or I'm done. As in I'm done emotionally, or I'm out of the door.
Yes.
So fear didn't play a part. Now, I always had a very open relationship with her. I was always very honest with her. Always, again, because of my honesty, it did gather support. But more than anything, they really valued what I brought to the company. Because of what I did, I used to be involved in pitches. They used to sell me as this leader in training design. So I was worth a lot to the company as well. It wasn't just, of course, there's fear in transitioning and making that move. And when you're sitting with a managing director that built his business from his bedroom to a 15 million turnover company a year, there's fear when you're talking to someone like that because of their extensive understanding. So with him, but because he was so supportive, again, fear didn't play a part. What I really had to overcome, I think you learn this in hindsight, is more the fact that once you leave, people just don't look at you the same. Even though you had great relationships, you'll pick up the phone to them when you're independent and people are like, oh, good luck. Oh, can we do business? No, not really. And I think that's something that you need to learn to transition into and understand. That when people see in one way, they see you different once you're on your own. But, I mean, that whole period thinking back, I don't think fear played a big part because I was so determined. And because I had the cushion of a subcontracting, money didn't even play a part. It was only when I left that it all hit home, that it all crashed, that it all went sour. Yeah.
Right. Okay, and I'm glad you brought this up because that would lead me to the next question. So, what obstacles, insecurities, and fears you had to overcome then?
Right. So, once I left, I think I've got a frog in my throat. Give me 2 seconds.
Sure.
There we go. Once I left, so like I said, first of all the people that were like, good luck, give me a call, love to connect with you, I love your work. Once I picked up the phone to them, it was a very different response. It was like, oh, well, good, I'm glad to hear you're on your own. Good luck. And it's like, can we do business? Well, not really. Conflict of interest. I've got nothing for you. So suddenly you're going from this very supported environment to completely almost nothing. At the time, I didn't have a great strategy. I didn't really, if I'm honest, know what I'm doing. And a lot of people, when they transition, they go, oh, it'll just work out. And it doesn't just work out. So that's why, it kind of carried on for a year. I had a few clients. I ticked over. I got some big projects with the National Health Service, with Hewlett-Packard in Spain. But in terms of the coaching business, in terms of actually that, if I look back, was really not bringing in a great deal of money. And because I didn't have a good sales funnel, I really wasn't kind of marketing very well. I'd written a book, that was great. You know, that was my first book. But the key obstacles are really, truly transitioning from the employee to a business owner. And it's very different. And it's even shifting from an employee to truly understanding what needs to be done for it to be a business.
Mm-hmm.
So my fear, obviously, was where's the next money coming from? Where's my next client coming from? Because there's no security anymore. And everything's very real. Rent's very real. You know, buying food is very real. So that's the stuff you must really strategize for and really plan for when you're transitioning out. It's all very well burning the bridge and just going for it, as you know, the metaphor, burning the bridge versus actually burning the bridge, you know, no way back. But there's a lot of practical stuff that you can do to avoid, you know, a lot of pain, which I ended up going through. And there's a lot of stuff you can put in place so it doesn't happen. It made me a better person. It made me a much better business owner and strategist. But I look back, I know I could have avoided a lot of this pain.
That's a really good point. Thank you for bringing that up. And what internal and external resources you were able to make use of?
Internally, again, it was a commitment to my purpose. It was a commitment to my drive, to why I wanted to leave. Why not stay at full-time employment? You know, why did I do that? And that was my purpose in life and what I want to do for people and for myself. Externally, what I was able to pull was actually I'll keep going back to this, a very supportive network. You know, 2010, I had a really good year. 2011, I don't know if you remember, everything really crashed on me. Like, I lost pretty much everything. I lost my property in Cardiff, all my clients except one. Not that they just finished their coaching and didn't renew. I was kind of in that silly mindset. I thought they'll always renew. And I fell into a massive legal dispute with another company that were meant to pay me. So all my income went down. I had nothing, like no income. So I went from one of my best months to nothing. And the external resources I was able to pull on was, first of all, it's a very, very supportive community. A lot of the people we both know were very much there for me throughout that period. Some people, you know, because I had no income, right? And I got offered several jobs because of my past as a trainer, and I turned them down because I was determined to make it work. But the greatest resource of all was the people that helped me through that period. Some people lent me money just to get by. You know, lots of people met with me every week to make sure I wasn't going to put my head through a wall or, you know, do something silly. I was never, you know, I mean, I was in a dark place, but I was never suicidal, you know. But people just made sure I was okay, and they were there to hold my hand, and they're okay for me to get angry. And that's the biggest external resource I can talk about for that whole period, is the environment. And that's who really helped me. And throughout this whole period, the whole time, I always talk about, you know, surround yourself with people that will support you in this journey, that will help you. Doesn't mean they're going to suck up to you. Doesn't mean it's like, oh, you're so great. They still hold you accountable. But it's like when the crap hits the fan, you need to know there's people there you can turn to. So it's actually fair to say that my whole network is a lot smaller now, but I know I can turn to them, and equally they can turn to me. I would say that's the most important external resource that I could turn to this whole period, even now.
Yes, yes. And it's very important what you just said, because I guess your network, you created your network before you actually needed the network. And we make part of the same community, really, and we are very giving people, right? We don't help out in the sense of, oh, you're a cool, weak thing. We're like, no, sometimes you just need a kick in, you know what, put yourself together. Yeah. But and we have been creating these relationships for a long, long time. I think we've known each other for at least 6 to 7 years, possibly.
Yeah, probably. I think around 2010-ish.
2009, yes. There you are. So it's people that we've known for a long, long time. Yes. Yeah. That is beautiful. And what sort of surprises you had along the way?
Oh, man. Well, I think I mentioned some of them. I think everything collapsing was a big surprise. I think some of the other surprises, what really kind of tickles my heart or is when you get that email, that message, that out of the blue, and I get them here and there. I don't quite have a daily stream of them yet, but when you go, that time when I did Power to Succeed, and it comes like months later. Thank you so much for that. This is what happened. I've had a few messages going, oh, I just got what you meant in this course. And those are the nice surprises, being invited, recently I've been invited to speak. We're still in the details, but just the fact that I'm being considered in front of 100 wealthy women in America. They're in a certain area in America. And they're like, yeah, we really like you. So I think what always kind of, what taught me a lot that whole period when it all crashed is humility. But not humility in the sense of, like in kissy butt, if I can say that, kind of, oh, thank you. But more to never really expect, but always strive towards. And so I guess a part of me is always surprised when I'm asked to do things, or when people, like when they want to work with me, a part of me is like, yay, because having had nothing for a long time to people going, I want to work with you, I'll pay you thousands of pounds. A part of me is like, really? You'll do that? But not, that's more internal. I don't really go that way. But it's more that kind of, that's always kind of a nice surprise, although I'm aware of my value. I know what I bring. I've got results. So that's kind of, I still take that element to, I guess, the childhood when they get a present, they go, oh, wow. So, when someone goes, I want to work with you, I go, oh, wow. Wow, what a gift. You want to work with me? But not in a kind of like, oh my God, I'm not worth it. Very different, right? But more in the kind of like, wow, thank you, gratitude. So I have that element of surprise. I mean, I think the greatest surprise is actually now that I'm actually happily settled with a beautiful woman, and I think how that all unraveled was an amazing surprise. And
you may as well show your wedding band, because you were talking about the 100 wealthy American ladies. So sorry, ladies, it's taken already.
Exactly. So like, no, kidding. But and I think if I look back, because that is a surprise, and I'll tell you why. Because literally a week or two before I met her, Emily, who
yes, she's lovely.
Yeah, she is. And I declared that I'm going to stay single till I'm a billionaire, and I'm not interested, and relationships aren't the horizon. And then along came Emily, and there we go. It all changed.
You changed your mind just like that. We're like, oh.
Sometimes when you meet the right person, when there's no point being stubborn for the sake of being stubborn.
I know this is not a relationship show, but I always get puzzled when people tell me, oh, when I was like, how do you know that?
You just know. I tell you, there were some key things that were different. And, I noticed, I'll go just so you understand, from the very beginning, we spent a lot of time together. But it didn't feel forced or burdened. It felt very natural to spend time together. And even when I kind of went into my old kind of, oh, I better leave, I better go. But there was no real need to go, or there was no like, yeah, you better go. Then it's like, oh, something's different here. And that's kind of when you know. That it's not forced, it's not hard work. It's very natural, and it just very naturally, like being in your flow, it goes. And I guess that's the whole,
Yes, you just lean into it. I got what you meant when you said it's natural, it's easy, it's not forced. Yes.
Yeah.
Just lean into it. Oh, that's beautiful. So that was an extra for our audience. Thank you very much for that. I think they are wondering. And Elliot, how, if people want to reach you, what would be the easiest way for them to do that?
Meet me?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, to meet me, various ways. I'm always happy to do coffees, so really, they can find me on social media in various, just say, hey, I saw you on Clacia's show. It was awesome. Love to do coffee. Or a scoffy. I call it a scoffy. It could be a Skype coffee. It's where we do this, and I have my cup of coffee ready, and we have a scoffy.
I love that idea. I'll write that down on my new list. Let's do coffee.
Coffee, Skype coffee. So, all of my social media's got the same handle. So it's Elliot Kay, so ELLIOT KAY, and then PTS. So Elliot Kay PTS, Papa Tango Sierra, which stands for Power to Succeed. So they can tweet me, Facebook me, Instagram me, all of that me. That's one way to connect. The other way to connect, I do sort of free taster sessions around strategy. And I love it. You know, for some people, like, what is strategy? I just hear this term. So it's an educational piece. It's a workshop where we talk and I show them strategy and I tell more of my story, and they can do that as well. But, you know, I mean, you can also send the info an email. Just send me an email at the info, which I'll give in a minute. But that website, I've got to be honest, I don't know when this is going live. So whenever you're watching this website could be up or it could be down. But this right now, let me be clear, is just for email purposes. And you can just email me info, info at startupstrategytoday.co.uk. That's startupstrategytoday.co.uk. But please only use that for email. If you want to find out about the workshops, then just go to tinyurl.com. So that's tinyurl.com/super strategy taster. So it's super strategy taster. And I think you'll kind of glue it everywhere. So you'll have all these.
Yes, I'll put it in the video on the YouTube page and so on for you. And then we'll be sharing on social media as well. For me, if you'd like to reach me, you can find me on Facebook. So that would be www.facebook.com/Plesia.Mendes. And I'll spell that. So that would be facebook.com/CLESIA.MENDES. You can go directly to my website. So that would be www.plesiaminch.com. Now, Elliot, what would you say to someone who's looking to make the leap from employee to making a living as a change worker?
I would say this. It's all very well manifesting, wishing, hoping. I would say have a good, solid, female or male, have a good, solid plan. Take the time to transition. Have a backup. Yeah, I would also say that. But more importantly, I'd say do it. But do it properly. Have a strategy. Have a plan. Have a momentum behind you. Then do it. But the important thing is to do it, to fulfill your purpose, to be a change maker, to impact people's lives. Build your dream. Build your purpose versus building someone else's. Because the world needs great leaders right now. But do it properly, do it strategically, do it from the heart, do it authentically, but do it.
Oh, that is beautiful. Elliot, thank you very much for being in this episode of Daring the Big Leap. And to our audience, I'm looking forward to connecting again soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.